Welcome back, everybody, to the Healthy and Whole podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about why discipline is not the answer when it comes to long-term sustainable weight loss and lifestyle change. Now, don't get me wrong, discipline is essential. It is one part of the equation. But the reason that a lot of people are not successful in the long term with sustainable results, the reason they get some results and then lose those results, they lose some weight and then gain all that weight back again, and oftentimes more, is because they misunderstand and they're trying oftentimes to approach it simply through a disciplinarian or a discipline-based approach, and they're missing the boat. They're missing the actual key strategy and approach that is necessary for actual sustainable results. So before we actually dive into this episode, I want to talk just for a minute about why I do podcast topics like this one. And I believe that topics like this are very important because as a sustainable weight loss coach who's worked with hundreds of clients over the years, and we interview people all the time before they come into our program. Something that is very obvious a lot of times when I'm interviewing people before we even work with them is that when they tell me about their history of all the things that they have tried, there are recurring themes and patterns that we see in all of the things that they tried and ultimately failed to get the results that they wanted. And oftentimes what I see is that the common flaw is that they're all trying to take this discipline-based approach. And no matter what thing they're trying, whether it's trying some specific diet or protocol, or they're trying to do excessive cardio to get what they want, or they're doing extreme intermittent fasting, or they're trying some influencer or internet guru's program, they're doing something to get the results that they want, but they really have no clue or no belief that they're going to be able to do this for the long term. And so the reason I actually take the time to do topics like this one is because if we can realign someone's understanding of the actual path that they need to take to get the result that they want, then they can stop wasting their time taking all of these approaches that are simply never going to end where they want them to end. And they can start putting their time and their focus and their energy in the right place, and they can actually start to see movement toward the end goal in a way that's actually going to be sustainable. So while I know a podcast episode like this will never go viral, it's never going to get hundreds of thousands of views, and I don't care. My goal with this podcast and with taking the time out of my day to do these episodes is to help people take steps toward getting the results that they actually want to get, and not to sell them something that is not going to get them where they want to be. It's not to confuse them. It's not to do any of that. It's to give you the value, to show you the path, to help you stop wasting time, and to help you ultimately get where you want to be. So just a little bit of context about why topics like this, that you listen to the title, it doesn't sound very exciting. But trust me when I say if you listen to the end of this, you'll leave this podcast knowing where some of the approaches in the past didn't work, and you'll have a much better understanding of where you need to put your focus in the future. Okay? So let's dive in and let's talk about why discipline is not the answer. Anybody who's listened to this, who has tried and failed at losing weight in the past, has tried diets like keto, carnivore, the Atkins diet, intermittent fasting. I just interviewed a woman yesterday who joined our program who had done all these extreme fasting protocols. And she was kind of just paralyzed by all this food chatter and stuff going on in her brain from all this nonsense that she had absorbed from all of these different people online. And the common theme across all of it is that people are looking for something that will get a result, and they're not paying attention to whether it's actually going to be sustainable in the end or not. And if something is not going to be sustainable in the end, then it's going to require a high amount of discipline the entire way for the rest of your life in order for it to be successful. And at its core, that is why I'm doing this episode, because discipline is not the answer to long-term sustainable results, but it is essential for human beings. So why is discipline essential, but it's not the key to long-term sustainable results? Well, discipline is essential because when we act in disciplined ways, which to be disciplined to me ultimately means that we act in alignment with our values and with our true priorities in life. So if we want to lose weight and to be healthy and to be fit, when we act in alignment with that, we're being disciplined. When we act out of alignment with that, we're not being disciplined. And so when we act in alignment with our values and with our priorities, and we're being disciplined by doing that, that does some really amazing things for our mental and our emotional health, for our relationship with ourselves, with how we view ourselves, with our self-confidence, our self-belief, our self-trust. Through being disciplined and acting in alignment with our values and our priorities in life, the things that are truly important, the vision of who we really want to be, we build confidence, we build self-belief, we build trust in ourselves, we feel powerful, we feel in control. And that is why discipline is so crucial for all human beings. It's incredibly important that we are clear on who we want to be and what we truly value in life and what our actual priorities are, and that we live and behave and make decisions in alignment with that so that we can truly be disciplined and that we can live with the feeling of confidence and belief and trust and power, personal empowerment that comes from that. It's absolutely essential to being healthy from a mental and an emotional standpoint for all human beings. We have to have that. And the opposite happens when we don't do that, right? When we say we want to be healthy, we want to live a long time, we want to have energy, we want to be the type of parent that does not sit on the sidelines but goes and has all the energy we need for days to run and to do all of the things. We want to be good parents. We want to be powerful and effective in our careers. We want to be all these things, but then we go and we do things that are directly out of alignment with that, aka we're not being disciplined. Then what does that do? That really tears down our self-belief, our self-love, the way we view ourselves. It erodes away our trust in ourselves that we're capable of doing things. And it starts to replace all of that with self-doubt, with fear, with maybe even a little bit of self-loathing at times. And so that's why discipline is super important. We all have to figure out how to be disciplined, aka living in alignment with our actual goals and values and priorities in life, because our mental health depends on that. But that is not necessarily the whole strategy or a recipe for actual long-term results. And anybody who has ever tried to lose weight already knows this, right? It doesn't matter how disciplined you think you are or how much you value being healthy and fit. If the actual approach, the actual things that you're trying to do to get that result are so unenjoyable and so hard that it's just a Herculean feat for you to be disciplined enough to stick to it, then it's just not going to work. So what I'm saying is that discipline is essential, but discipline is not enough. And so we have to go beyond discipline if we actually want sustainable results. And that's what I'm ultimately going to talk about here in this podcast. But the point I want to hover on here and just bring to a close here before we move on to that, because I need everybody to leave this episode understanding that the next time they go out and they say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm tired of feeling the way I feel. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of seeing what I see in the mirror. I don't want to live this way anymore. And it's understandable that you would feel that way. And you get to that place where you're ready to try something. You start searching around and you start scouring the internet and looking around and looking for what everybody else is doing and all this stuff. The whole next part of this conversation is where I tell you what you should be doing and what you should be looking for, so that you don't get yourself wrapped up into just another thing that seems different because you're not doing the exact same things you were doing before, but it's rooted in the same fallacy, the same failed strategy, which is you're doing something that deep down you know is not sustainable. Okay? So, what I want you to think about here and understand is that discipline is essential, but discipline is a short-term necessity when it comes to staying on track with our daily decisions around our food and whether we're going to exercise or not, and doing all the things that we need to do to actually create results to move us closer to our ultimate weight goal and all of that stuff. Discipline is essential. It is a short-term necessity, both for getting results and, for our mental health along the way, and making sure that we feel confident and empowered and in control. But in order to get the results that we really, really want in the long term, meaning we're going to go all the way to the end goal that we envision in our heart and in our mind, the pie in the sky goal, right? To go all the way, not to settle halfway, but to go all the way and to confidently know that you're going to stay there the rest of your life. The second part of the strategy that we pair with discipline, the long-term strategy, is all in optimization. Now, I understand optimization sounds like just a fancy term, and I'm going to explain what I mean by optimization. Okay. Optimization means that we're along the way, while we're being disciplined, we're staying committed to the goals that we said were important to us. We're staying committed to the values and the priorities that we've set for ourselves, for our health and where we want to be and who we want to be, so that we can have a really good mental and emotional health situation along the way, and we can have good results along the way while we're staying disciplined. We've got to take the time to actually optimize and build a lifestyle that will allow us to get all the way there and to stay there in a way that does not require massive amounts of discipline and willpower to stay there. Because the reality we have to understand is that whatever methods that we use to get any result, especially weight loss, the moment we stop using those methods oftentimes is exactly when the weight starts to come back. We start to lose the results that we worked hard for, and we backslide. So the realization is that whatever we do, we have to keep doing it the rest of our lives. And if we're going to do something the rest of our lives, we better dang well make sure that the thing that we're going to do for the rest of our lives is something we want to do and that we can do for the rest of our lives, without feeling like we've signed up for a prison sentence of a life. Okay? So, yes, discipline is essential. It is one half of the equation. It is the short-term necessity that keeps us on track even when it feels hard, and allows us to act in accordance with our values even when it feels hard, and that makes us feel super confident and amazing. But while we're doing it, we've got to be optimizing everything in the lifestyle, from our food to our workouts to our time management, everything, to reduce the amount of resistance that we feel to this lifestyle. And not only just reduce the amount of resistance, but to literally build and craft something that is not just something that we tolerate, but something that we thoroughly enjoy. And that is what we do with our clients every day at Healthy and Whole. And that's why when folks look at our results and they look at all of the success stories and they look at these clients that we have who have gone all the way to where they want to be. They've reached their ultimate long-term weight loss goal. They've reversed type 2 diabetes. They've really rehabbed their blood work all on the way. They've come off of medications. They've done all this stuff, and they've stuck with it. And years later, after they've done it, they're still rocking it. It's because of this one thing. Because we didn't just say, what are we going to do to get these results? We said, while we're being disciplined and getting these results, we're going to continuously work every day, looking for every opportunity along the way to optimize this so it starts to feel like something that you don't have to make yourself do, but you want to do. You want to live it. We want to build a lifestyle that you can live for a lifetime. That's how you build sustainability, okay? So you want to commit to discipline for the good of your mental health, your confidence, your self-belief, your self-trust, all of that, your self-love. You want to be committed to discipline, to doing the things even when they're not optimized yet. Even when you have zero energy and you don't feel motivated, you should commit to discipline in showing up and following through for yourself, especially in those moments, because that is where confidence is built, my friends. That's where self-trust and self-love and self-belief is built, is in those hard moments, okay? But also, just like I ask every one of our clients to commit to, I want you to commit to a process of continuous optimization of the actual lifestyle so that you can reduce your reliance on discipline for long-term success. Because a reliance on discipline and willpower for long-term success is not a recipe for success at all. It's 100% a recipe for failure. And anybody who has tried this already knows that, okay? So let's talk about what are the things that we actually need to optimize for in the lifestyle to start making steps toward actual true sustainability, where we actually end up with a lifestyle that we enjoy, that we wake up every day and it produces the levels of health and fitness, muscle tone, body composition, all of those things that we actually want. We have all the energy we want. We can go and do all the things without limitation. We can be in photos and we can feel great. We can fly on the airplane without the seatbelt extender. We can get on all the rides at the theme park that we want to. We can go into social environments and feel confident. We can shop in stores and we can buy the clothes that we really want to buy. In order for all of that to happen, we've got to optimize. And so these are the things that we want to optimize for, okay? The first one, and guys, some of these things are going to seem like dumb at, but as dumb at as these things will sound, people don't do it, okay? The first thing you want to start optimizing for is enjoyment and variety. Enjoyment and variety, especially in the food that you are eating, okay? Something I see all the time. It is so prevalent. And it's actually something that we have to force our clients into because there is such a natural tendency to not do this. So we literally have to force our clients into doing this until they get it. There's a natural tendency to just find what works to get the results and to just hammer on it because the results are exciting without paying attention to the enjoyment factor of it. And this happens a lot when people first start a weight loss journey, because when most people first start a weight loss journey, they are so uncomfortable that they will literally do anything to get the result. And once they have started seeing results, they're just riding on that vibe and that momentum and that energy for a little bit. But eventually, one of two things happens. The newness and the excitement of this new thing that they're trying that started working starts to wear off, and that can be a problem. Or they get just enough results that they're not quite as uncomfortable as they were before. And this is where complacency starts to creep in. And this is where it really starts to be a problem, because in the beginning, when you're just working off of total excitement, of something new and just total pain of where you're at, you'll do literally anything. You'll eat anything to get the result. But once that excitement wears off of starting something new, and once you've got just enough results that complacency starts to set in, now all of a sudden you're waking up and you're saying, you know what? I don't know that I want to eat this food today. This is boring to me. I don't want to eat this chicken breast and this broccoli and this rice. If I have to eat another salad, I'm going to just vom, right? I'm tired of this crap and I just want to go have a cheat meal, right? And that's usually how it pops up. People will go for a few weeks, solid, great results. They're being super disciplined. And then something will pop up, a birthday, an anniversary. They'll go on a vacation and they go and they have some sort of like an exceptional meal. They let the reins loose for a meal and they enjoy some real indulgent food for maybe sometimes the first time in weeks. And that's where it starts to fall apart because they've been relying on sheer discipline this entire time, not paying attention to making the food that they eat every day that is healthy, enjoyable, or having enough variety of those things. They've been just going on pure discipline, eating whatever. And then they experience real flavor and enjoyment in food again, and then they can't go back. And that's where they say, okay, well, I had this cheat meal, but then I just like the whole rest of the week turned into a cheat, and I just could not get myself back on track. And then they start beating themselves up, and it all starts to fall apart. Why? Because they weren't paying attention to and building up the enjoyment and the variety in their healthy options. They were just going on discipline only. No flavor, no variety, no enjoyment. Just give me the results. And then they experience flavor when they have a cheat meal. And the gap between the two, the enjoyability of their healthy food and their cheat food is so big that they literally can't force themselves back on track. How many of you have experienced exactly this in your own weight loss journey? So we've got to start taking the time. You got to slow down. Stop being in such a hurry to get the result and start slowing down and taking time to diligently focus on finding healthy options that are also enjoyable enough to the threshold that you need them to be enjoyable so that when you do go out and you have a cheat meal, you're not like, oh, I can't go back to eating this now. Your food, your everyday food that you eat on a Tuesday or a Wednesday has got to be just as good. That healthy food has got to be just as good or good enough that after you go out and have a really big cheat meal or you go on vacation, that you come back and you slide right back into it because it also tastes really good. That's how you know that you have hit the mark with the level of enjoyment in your healthy food. And what does that look like? It's nothing crazy. It really just is taking the time to search for recipes. In our program, we do it in different ways. In our program, we have an entire cookbook that is where we're actually taking what people often eat as cheat meals, like tacos and quesadillas and pizza and pasta and ice cream and cookies and all these different things. And we've already made super high protein, lower carb, lower fat, lower calorie options, versions of these that actually taste really, really good. And they take very little time to make. There's very few ingredients. They're easy to source because you can buy all the ingredients at Walmart. We've just made it so easy for people that they eat the food. I just posted yesterday on Facebook. This woman sent us a picture of the quesadillas, the chicken quesadillas from our cookbook, and her whole plate is full with these two big quesadillas. And she said, "I still can't believe I get to eat all of this food and still lose weight. I can't wrap my head around it." She was blown away by it. That's how you know that we're being successful. And in our program, we provide them the cookbook, and we work hand in hand oftentimes with clients to help them to literally sit down. We do workshops with our clients where we sit down and we brainstorm with them meal ideas and snack ideas to build out this menu. And the prerequisite that we have when we're brainstorming is that it can't just be something you're eating for results. It must be highly enjoyable. We will not put it on the menu if it's not highly enjoyable. If you wouldn't really look forward to eating it, it's a waste of time. And so you can do this too on your own. You don't have to join a program like ours to get that kind of help, but it really just makes, you have to sit down, you have to take that time to intentionally look for the recipes, to find the foods, to find the options that are actually going to be calorically what they need to be. They're going to have a lot of protein. They're going to have some carb and some fat, but not a ton to where it's holding up your results. They need to have what they need nutritionally, but they have to have a lot of flavor and enjoyment as well. And then, of course, variety is just, you need to have enough variety so that you don't get burnt out eating the same 3 to 5 things over and over and over again, which is something we see all the time. So we literally force our clients to build enjoyment and to build variety until they reach a threshold where they have escaped diet fatigue and all of that stuff. It's essential. You've just got to do it. So that's the first thing that you've got to start optimizing for in your lifestyle with food. Otherwise, you will not be able to out-discipline that fatigue that sets in. The second thing that you've really got to optimize for is convenience and flexibility. Most of the people that I know and most of the people that we work with at Healthy and Whole are working parents who have very busy jobs. They have one or more kids. Those kids are oftentimes in extracurricular activities like sports, oftentimes travel sports or travel band or choir or color guard or different things like that. They're traveling all the time, running kids from here to there, logging on, logging off, going into work. They're doing a ton. Time is not something that they have a massive amount of, nor is energy. They're spread kind of thin, right? So you can go out and find any plan to be successful, but if that plan or that approach that you're taking simply requires more time than you have or are willing to appropriate to getting the results that you want, you won't do it. And again, yes, in the beginning, you will force yourself to do it, but you will tire yourself out very quickly by doing that. And so just like we have to optimize for getting enough enjoyment and variety in our food to escape that diet fatigue that can set in, we have to also optimize everything that we're doing, the meal prep, the grocery buying, we have to have options that are super convenient, ultra convenient. We have to have restaurant options that are super quick that we can DoorDash when we need to, but are also healthy. And we also have to have a number of skills that can allow us to be super flexible when we need to be. It's helpful to know how to and to be able to practice some level of fasting when you need to, so that if you don't have a great food option, that's fine. You can just not eat, right? You can just have a 0 calorie or a low calorie beverage or grab a coffee like this one and you don't have to eat. You can go without it for a while. That skill allows you to have flexibility. And that's pretty awesome. There's other skills that you can build up and things that you can learn that will allow you to be super flexible. I just came back from a trip to Miami this past weekend with my wife, Joni. And I really leveraged skills that allowed me to be super flexible. I packed a bunch of ultra convenient protein bars for the flight there and the flight back. We practiced intermittent fasting for the most part during the early parts of the day. We ate pretty light during the first parts of the day. Just ate, 0 or very low calorie beverages, had a coffee or two, ate protein bars during the day while we were running around and shopping and, going for walks and doing all this stuff. And then we saved our calories for dinner time. And because we were able to implement some of those strategies, we were able to have like really big, awesome dinners and go around and do all these things and be super active. And we came back and I was the exact same weight that I was when I left. And I had amazing food when I was there, right? But there's all these different strategies and skills that I was able to implement that gave me flexibility to be able to sort of have my cake and eat it too. Literally, we had pie. We went to Publix while we were in while we were in Miami Beach, we walked over to a Publix, and one of my wife Joni's favorite things in Miami is to go to Publix and buy a key lime pie. And so we literally ate half a key lime pie on Friday night and half a key lime pie on Saturday night in our Airbnb room. And we were able to do that and not gain a bunch of weight because of all these strategies that we knew to be ultra flexible. Okay. So it's super important that we optimize for enjoyment and variety. We take the time to do that. And also that we optimize for convenience and flexibility, and that we take the time to learn those skills and to find those protein bars that we like and to find those things and to practice skills like intermittent fasting so that we can navigate all the complex seasons and situations and holidays and vacations and all these different scenarios in life without feeling like we're a one-trick pony, right? Without feeling like, well, if I really want to be successful, I guess I just can't indulge ever in restaurants. I guess I just can't ever, have the pie. When you don't have the skills and the options and the know-how to be flexible, that is what you're left with. And you're not going to be able to discipline your way through that. So we have to optimize for enjoyment, variety. We have to optimize for convenience and flexibility. And then a third thing that I think you've got to optimize for that people just don't really focus on it. They may be on some level aware of it, but they just don't put the time and the effort into focusing in it. And that's why we really almost force our clients to do it, is focusing on optimizing your time management and making sure that your time management is really well aligned with your values and your priorities, right? I'll give you one very clear example that almost all of the clients that we work with struggles with when they come into our program. And that is doom scrolling on social media, right? It's the rare person in today's society that does not struggle with losing a lot of time on a daily basis on their phone, scrolling Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or some other social media app for oftentimes hours. And it's so prevalent that people don't even realize consciously how much time they're losing. And it's always an interesting reaction that we get from people when we have them pull up their iPhone, the screen time app that shows them how much time they spend on Facebook or Instagram, when just 5 minutes before they were saying they didn't have any time. And then we have them pull up their screen time app and we have them look at the amount of hours that they spend on a daily or weekly basis on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. And, you see that the average person is anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day on social media, and they're saying they don't have any time. No, 9 times out of 10, you have the time. It's just that your time management is not aligned with your values and your priorities, right? You're getting sucked down social media scrolling rabbit holes out of just pure, not even conscious intent. It's just your brain just goes there to chase dopamine, right? And so this is where we have to start to be intentional about aligning your time management with your values and priorities. This can mean putting boundaries in place and saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to just work from the time that I wake up to the time I go to bed every day. I'm going to have clearly defined work start times and work end times. I'm not going to work the weekends maybe anymore. Or maybe it's going to be where you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to start saying no to more things that are not really a priority for me. And I'm going to stop being afraid of rejection when I say no. And I'm going to start saving time for what matters to me, what truly matters to me. So putting boundaries in place, right? I'm going to start putting my phone in a drawer during my workday so that I can actually get more work done in the hours that I'm supposed to be working and not feel like I have to be working outside of my defined work hours to get everything done. Or I'm going to get off of my phone in the evening time and go to bed. I'm going to go to bed. I'm not going to stay up until 10, 11, 12 p.m. every night scrolling mindlessly on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, when I won't remember any of that the next day. Instead, I'm going to put my phone down and I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get good sleep. I'm going to wake up earlier, start my day more intentionally, get a good morning routine in, have time to walk, have time to work out, have time to prepare for the day effectively. So we've got to start aligning our time management with our actual values and priorities. We've got to start eliminating a lot of this waste in our lives that is literally stealing time and focus from us and stealing energy away from our actual values and priorities. And so as we round this out, again, the goal of this topic, the goal of this podcast, if you walk away from this, you'll know that this was a successful listen. If you walk away from this and you say, okay, next time I really try this, or maybe you're in the middle of a journey right now and you're saying, I'm going to change my approach right now. And I'm going to set aside time, or I'm going to get help from someone who's going to help me find foods and recipes and build out a menu of stuff that I actually enjoy eating. And if you don't know how to do that in a way that is going to get you the results you want and be enjoyable, then get help, because it's totally doable. We do it every single day with our clients. We actually teach it to our clients and how to do that in our coursework with our clients so that they are equipped with that skill. They're not reliant on us to do it. And to build in variety so you don't get burnt out on eating the same things over and over again. I hope you listen to this and you say, okay, I'm going to start really paying attention to where my time is going. I'm going to start reducing my social media time, putting my phone away, getting to bed earlier, waking up earlier and being more intentional with the start of my day, putting my time into the places that actually align with what I want and not letting it be stolen away. And to actually start focusing on figuring out, okay, well, maybe I want to learn how to do some intermittent fasting so that I can have flexibility when I need it. Maybe I want to learn what it looks like to order something in a restaurant that would not be a cheat. It would still taste good, but it wouldn't be a cheat. So I can be successful. I can DoorDash. I can do all these things when time is short, and I can be super flexible. I'm going to go out and find the convenient meal options and snacks that I can turn to when I have zero time and zero energy, but I can still stay on track with those. These are the things that I hope that you will say, okay, Matt, now I get it. I've been trying to just white knuckle and discipline my way through this time after time after time, and it's not been working. And that you would just leave this podcast episode and say, I get it now. I've been trying to only rely on discipline, and I've not been optimizing for actual sustainability. And now I know that I need to optimize for enjoyment and variety. I need to optimize for convenience and flexibility. And I need to make sure that my time management aligns with my values and my priorities. And if I combine that approach with also being fully committed to being disciplined along the way, then and only then will you feel great about yourself along the way. You'll build confidence. You'll recognize and start to truly recognize yourself as someone who can do hard things, who can hold the line and still show up even when they're not motivated or they don't have the energy. And that'll help you to feel confident, to have self-belief, to increase your levels of self-love and appreciation and trust in yourself, all while actually building something that will last and that you won't have to white knuckle your way through for the rest of your life to stick to it. So if this has been helpful for you and you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe to the podcast channel here on whatever platform that you are on. And if you want other means of just free learnings from me, I have a newsletter called the Practical Health Journal, that comes out every Tuesday and every Friday. And I send out a longer article every Tuesday, and every Friday I send out something called Feel Good Fridays, which is a bunch of quick hit tips and product shares and recipes and things like that. And all of it is centered around optimizing for sustainability. So this whole thing I've been talking about on this podcast is exactly what the Practical Health Journal is all about. And it's free. It's a free newsletter. You can subscribe. There'll be a link down in the comments, and you'll get those emails every Tuesday and every Friday. And my goal with every email in that newsletter is that you walk away with something that you can go and implement, or something that you have learned that will help move you towards sustainability. That's why it's called the Practical Health Journal, right? Not the Discipline Journal, not the just tell me what gets results journal. It's the Practical Health Journal for a reason, because it's all about making it practical and sustainable along the way. All right, guys, that is it for this episode. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.